Hi everyone, welcome to Astrology MVP, your moon void of course place. I am your astrologer, Karis, and happy new year, January 1st, 2019. I wish every one of you nothing but all of the joy and happiness, all of the best in this coming new year. Now, in astrology, we have something called the moon void of course. And this is very important for you to know. I'm going to list these every day. And what it is that when the moon changes signs, the moon changes signs about every 2.5 days. But before the moon changes signs, there'll be a certain amount of time. It always varies and fluctuates just like the moon. There'll be a certain amount of time, sometimes a few minutes, sometimes the whole day, sometimes it can go for a full 30 degrees of a sign. But before the moon changes signs, there'll be a time period when the moon is not making aspects to any of the other planets. So the moon is said to be void of course or off course. The moon is hanging out in the void. And when you're scheduling something that is of great importance to you, you want to start an event, you want a lot of energy and momentum behind something, you would want to avoid doing that during the moon void of course time period. Now, the void of course time is wonderful for reflection, for just hanging out, relaxing. It's more introspective time period. But again, when you're launching something or beginning something that you want a lot of energy, a connection behind it, when the moon is void, that's not there because the moon is not making angles, connections, relationships to any of the other planets. Now this January 1st, we do have a moon void of course on this day because at 2:26 p.m. Pacific time, the moon does go void of course. On January 1st, we have the moon in her fall in the sign of Scorpio, and Scorpio is fixed water, ruled by Mars. And I like to look at the last aspect that the moon makes before she goes void. And I also like to look at the first aspect that the moon makes after she's fully in the next sign. So the moon being our mirror, the moon governs everyday affairs, the public. We know the effect that the moon has on us and our planet. Now, the moon goes void at 2:26 p.m. in the sign of Scorpio, and the last aspect that the moon makes before she goes void, of course, is a Moon-Venus conjunction in the sign of Scorpio. So Venus in Scorpio is in her detriment. The moon in Scorpio is in her fall. Scorpio is ruled by Mars. This happens on a Tuesday, a Mars day. Moon-Venus conjunction. This is all about the release and the letting go and the saying goodbye to relationships in our life. Mainly because we do not share the same values. Venus is what we value. It's the money planet. And Scorpio is merged finances and merged money. The moon is what we want to acquire, what we need to fill us up to feel happy and fulfilled. So this January 1st time frame, where everyone tends to make their New Year's resolutions, this January 1st day, right before the moon goes in the void, this can be a saying goodbye, a releasing, a letting go to relationships that may have been keeping you in debt, because Scorpio is merged money. It has a lot to do with inheritance, debt, taxes, saying goodbye to relationships that are very upsetting and not healthy for you. So that's the last aspect, a Moon-Venus conjunction right at the time that the moon goes void. Now, on January 2nd, the moon enters the sign of Sagittarius, because I like to look at the next aspect that the moon makes after she changes signs. The first aspect that the moon makes after she goes into Sagittarius is a Moon-Mars trine in the element of fire. Moon in Sagittarius, Mars at home in Aries. So that's about the excitement, the enthusiasm, the fire of going after what it is you want for the new year, so that you can fill up the moon, let's say. Interesting to me, though, that after the moon goes void on January 1st, in the evening, we have a Sun-Saturn conjunction. Now, a Sun-Saturn conjunction is quite serious, to say the least. And Saturn also separates. So, one of the positive things about a moon void, of course, is that when you don't want much to happen, you need to just reflect, to chill out, so to speak, and contemplate things. This is wonderful for a moon void of course time, because nature is always balancing. We need activity, but we also need reflection as well. So in the evening on January 1st, that Sun-Saturn conjunction is quite serious in terms of thinking about, reflecting on, feeling into, because the moon is all about our emotions, feeling into some serious decisions that you either just made or are about to make. And with that Sun-Saturn in Capricorn, that's about building your future and how you want to build your future. And that building of the next phase of your life does come along with the Moon-Venus conjunction in Scorpio, which is to let go of either certain values, relationships, what you've been doing with your finances. Again, Scorpio is merged money, but the excitement of the new year is really kicking off, I would say, on January 2nd. January 1st is the feel of the day, is more of, I finally have to let this go. And it's not a decision that you make lightly. Sun-Saturn conjunction is about as somber as it could possibly get. And the Sun-Saturn conjunction also has a lot to do with the toll it may have taken on your self-esteem and self-worth. The sun is our vitality. It's our sense of dignity. So for that Sun-Saturn conjunction, that aspect to take place while the moon is void in Scorpio, whatever decisions you may have made or are about to make for the new year, for 2019, this isn't a flighty toss a coin, toss a feather, and letting go of things. This is a very deep contemplation and releasing for 2019. So all of my astrology clients have said about 2018 that Mars retrograde year really was a clearing away year, regardless of their signs, their full charts. 2018 really did clear a path for the new beginning to come in. And this January 1st with the moon void in Scorpio and that Sun-Saturn conjunction is the awareness and the knowing of how necessary it was to do this, whatever this means for your life. But this is our January 1st moon void, of course. I'm going to post these every day, because when you're scheduling things, You want to know the moon void of course times. Anyway, thank you so much. Happy New Year. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.